Ready? Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the ERSCA Days Gone By 150 from Charlotte. I am David Westergreen. With me, as always, is Dom Santina and Emily Harlan. We'll be bringing you yet another ERSCA series race. And, guys, the battle, 1 point between Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell for the points lead. It's been tight like that all season long.
Yeah, those two have really established themselves as the top two drivers here in the series so far this season, and we'll look forward to seeing another battle between them here tonight at Charlotte.
Emily, what are you looking out for in terms of your pick? Who are you looking out for today to make a statement?
I am going to go with Tate Lytle today, guys. I don't know. I just feel like he's going to have a good race. It seems like he's been doing good in the previous few weeks. So that's who I'm going with tonight. What about for you guys?
Yeah, I think that's a good pick given that he won at Michigan a couple of weeks ago. I think for me, it's going to be the pole sitter Matthew Weeks. He's been really strong of late, sitting in the top 10 in points, but hasn't been able to break out that race win just yet. So when Matthew Weeks can kind of finally put it all together and get a race win, I think it might be tonight.
I'll go right next to you on the starting line there, David. Scott Crump starting in the second position. Think he's going to have a good night. We'll see what he can do. He hasn't been able to put one together of late, but we'll see if he can get up here and claim a win.
That's another great pick, as always. Just a couple of notes throughout the field there. Ryan Lutz starting 9th on the grid today, and you'll notice a special driver right next to him there. Number 21, Josh Sobel, our kind of former producer, going ahead and producing. We've got Tim on the box for us today. He's doing a great job, as always, and we'd like to thank Tim and Josh for running the first half of the season. Tim will be running the second half on the box for the cameras, so thanks, guys. Other than that, we've got Ethan Burrell starting kind of further into the back of the field. Ethan starting in 19th spot. He'll have to gain 10 spots to even break even with Ryan Lutz, and in order to get track position, it's going to be very difficult for the likes of Ethan Burrell. I also see Nick Massey back in 11th. Damian Leininger back in 14th, Gerald Campbell 15th. It's going to be difficult to pass at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. These cars are going to be very tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be interesting to watch and see who can make their way through. And, always shorter track racing, not a total short track here with Charlotte, but not when you have those big, long super speedways and races like we've seen earlier in the season. It always makes it more interesting and caution's more likely to happen.
Guy I want to put a note on as we get started and get up to speed here before we go green. Cameron Rich, starting from 30th tonight, he will be going for the Noble Prize. Rich, if he's the Daytona winner. If he's able to win this race, and then two others going through the season, he'll win a big prize pool. So Cameron, we'll have to keep track of Cameron Rich's progress throughout the day. I know Johnny Thomas put that together. I think Days Gone By, our race sponsor, is also sponsoring that. So big kind of keep our eye on Cameron Rich here today. With that, let's go up to the front of the field and get ready to go green. It's going to be Matthew Weeks, Scott Crump, Chris Wright, Tate Lytle, and Colin Fambro to start it out. And, these guys are going to have to get through the first couple of treacherous laps on cold tires at Charlotte. Today's car is off, and we will go green now. And racing at Charlotte is Matthew Weeks. He jumps out to a big early lead, and Weeks very good at these 1.5 mile speedways. Chris Wright, Scott Crump gonna battle for second. Clean start by everyone throughout the field there, it looks like, and a little bit of jostling for position. In fact, we're gonna have a battle for the lead.
Yeah, I forgot my mic was muted there for a second. You're right, running that throwback scheme here once again this week, and now he's going to try to battle for the lead.
That's right, all over the back bumper of Matthew Weeks. Wright has not made too many friends this season. He's also been very forward in terms of trying to leave the laps early in the run. It has come back to bite him in the past. Chris Wright to the lead at Charlotte. For how long, though, will be the question.
Here comes Crump to the inside. They got Weeks up to the high side, and he might get freight trained here a little bit. Weeks to the inside, Lytle underneath, and here comes Fambro behind as well.
Colin Fambro, not one we've talked about recently. He's been somewhat falling, kind of like a freight train down these standings. Not really what I was expecting from Colin Fambro this season. Kind of figured he'd put in a bunch of good runs. Our Bolson are going the wrong way. Might have heard me pick him and has immediately dropped back, though he may also be trying to save those tires. Certainly a strategy you can employ at Charlotte, given the propensity for long reflag runs.
Yeah, absolutely, but it also seems like it's one of those things that that top line just not quite as dominant as the bottom line, as you see the 36 there of Ryan Lawton's getting under Weeks, and he continues to fall backwards, and here comes last week's winner, Massey, through as well.
See, back to the silver and red paint scheme this week, looking real strong early. He's moving forward, following Ryan Lutz in his tire tracks, heading up. The other guy who's fallen from this top 10, James Heater, just absolutely dropping like a stone, all the way back to 9th now, started 6th, but he's continuing to go backwards. More cars passing him now. I think Heater's going to be outside the top 10. Campbell by contact between Heater and Jeff Green.
Yeah, the 16 car of Heater was falling back there with Weeks there, but Weeks was able to kind of slot in line, and now you can see Massey's got pushed to the high side. Heater's still stuck up there, falling towards the back.
iRacing did attempt to make the high lane viable in these cars, and in all the cars, really. They gave a grip strip up there, but it does not seem to have helped anybody. The inside lane, clearly the dominant lane, everyone wanting to wrap that blue line, put the left side tires down there and drive up to the front of the field. One guy that is driving up to the front of the field that's in a hurry is Nick Delicato. I believe he is, no, maybe not. It was Josh Sobel, actually, that's moving forward. Sobel is 14 on the bottom. He and Delicato running very similar paint schemes in that yellow and blue.
New race leader Scott Crump to the lead, and Tate Lytle went with him to the inside of Chris Wright, right back to the 3rd spot now. And we'll see if Lytle will have anything for your new race leader, Scott Crump.
But it does look like he is pretty quick on these this shorter run, 7 laps. We've already had a pair of lead changes. Lytle might have gotten a piece of the wall right there, just ever so slightly. I think not much damage to the 56 car. He didn't lose any momentum, so he's probably okay. As Chris Wright jumps out to the early lead and then falters again. He's done that, I think, 3 or 4 times now this season. Just seems to jump out really fast and then burn the tires off it a little quick.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if he can hang on.
Battle for 4th, Josh Adams and Colin Fambro side by side entering turn 1.
Yeah, Fambro had made his way up a little bit. Looked like he was going to make his way up towards the front there and battle for the lead, but kind of stalled out once he got to the 4th position. Now he'll slide back to the 5th and possibly even 6th spot if Mogard decides to go to the inside here.
Josh Adams is our 9th in points man. Jared Mogard the 10th in points man. Colin Fambro 13th in points. All these guys battling right on the bubble for the playoffs in the chase grid. Another guy who absolutely needs a race win or 2 to get up into the contest for the playoff grid is Damian Leininger right here, and he's having a good strong run early in this one in the top 10, following in the tire tracks of Jeff Green. Been a bit of a disastrous start for Matthew Weeks. He's fallen all the way to 11th behind Leininger and fallen off of this front pack. And speaking of, here comes Ethan Burrell. He's up to 12th, so the points battle for the top spot quickly shrinking that gap down, I think, between Burrell and Lutz to 5 points now. As Burrell has to climb up. He is still, I believe, 1 point back of Lutz in the overall standings coming into tonight. Making that top line work, too, is this 37 car. Good. Back up front, Josh Adams has blown around Chris Wright and gone into 3rd spot. Mogard has gone around Fambro into 5th. So everyone chasing Crump, but then Lytle, Adams, Wright, Mogard now the top 5.
Yeah, and Lytle and Crump have broke away just a little bit there from Adams in the 3rd spot, put about 0.8 of a second, now down to about 0.7. Difference between 2nd and 3rd place.
See if Ethan Burrell can, now up in 11th, can run down the top 10. A little bit of a gap between the top 10 and Ethan Burrell in 11th. Big snarling pack of cars back in about 20th place, but you know, up front, everyone is single file out. They're trying their best to run some clean laps, not kind of ignore these cars in the back of the field that are side by side fairly constantly around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, looking back here, it looks like Heater finally got to the bottom, but no, he was kind of getting freight trained on the top line as they've moved up a little bit.
I wonder if the outside line may work in as we go. We saw Ethan Burrell use it to get around Matthew Weeks there. We're seeing Dylan Thomas go up there to use it right now on James Heater. Right behind, I believe, the 25 is Marshall Stanley. I haven't spoken his name a whole lot this season, but Stanley having a fairly good run up in 14 early in this one. Nick Massey back in 13. He really hasn't made any progress to the front. I'm a little bit surprised there. I thought Massey might be heading quickly there with Ryan Lutz, but no, it's been difficult going. This field's spread out, and now there's not much passing going on.
Yeah, David, I think you nailed it head on there. Just need to get a little bit of heat built up in that top lane, and I think possibly even as we go on a little bit further here into this run, you might see that top line become the dominant lane.
Battle on track is Jeff Green and Dayton and Gerald Campbell for 8th. They are all over one another. Green continuing to look left and right on Gerald Campbell. 2000 Xfinity champion recently announced his retirement from NASCAR, but we're lucky to have him in C2 Freight working on this 38 car on Mondays with Elite Racing, Wednesdays with Elite Racing, and then obviously with us here Monday nights after that Elite Racing with ERSCA. So Jeff Green doing a fantastic job early in this one. He's been quite fast.
And Damien Leininger right there behind him as well. Dave, do you think now that they've kind of gone single file, you talked about Charlotte's prone to green flag stretches, you think they're kind of settling in for a long green flag stretch now?
Absolutely. I think they are prepared to go. Oh, no,
Caution.
Caution out. Just as we say that, I think, let's try. I think it's Richard Hines, the 81 car, is the one that has gone awry. He's pulling up on the ground here, and we'll have to go back and take a look at what happened. Looks like he was kind of in a crowd exiting turn 2, and might have gotten a little bit of help. Somebody in front of him there, and he checked up for it. This is quite a wreck. This is going to be quite a replay. I think it's whoever's in front of Johnny Thomas. I can't tell who was in front of Johnny Thomas that checked up. Might have been Zishan Dura or Michael Goodman. No, I don't. We've got a loading issue here. We got to turn up the amount of cars that are loading, I think, in order to fix that. Otherwise, it'll end up not loading all the cars. I'm sorry about that. Zishan, or I'll try to describe it. Richard Hines checked up for a car in the wall in front of him, spun down the track. He and Brandon Key got together. Key kind of lifted Hines' car off the ground, and he hit the inside wall with the rear of the car. It knocked the spoiler off of it, likely doing a ton of damage to that Richard Hines car. So the 81 in deep trouble back in 34th early in this one as a number of cars head down pit road. In fact, I think everybody heading down pit road. Except for Chris Wright. Chris Wright is the only one who stayed out. Oh man, that's not good for Wright. He may have trouble if anybody, or if he doesn't decide to come down pit road after this, he may be in deep trouble. He may be back where he would be restarting if he did come down pit road right now. Looks like Josh Clark maybe missed his pit box, so Clark will have to come back down pit road as well. Crump then Lytle off pit road just as they entered. I think Fambro lost a couple of spots on pit road. Let's send Emily down to see maybe what Chris Wright's thinking about staying out here. Try to get his thoughts. He may have either made a mistake or maybe just employing a different strategy that we don't know about. So she'll head down and see what Chris Wright's thinking. This puts Scott Crump back in the spot to get the lead back here, and once the things cycle through with the cautions. I mean, maybe Wright's banking on the fact that it's very difficult to pass. Maybe Josh Clark. Yeah, Josh Clark's going to go ahead and come down pit road, so he must have missed his pit box. And yeah, Wright staying out though. I'm not sure I agree with that call.
you think the tires could have worn off that fast, David? Do you think it's going to make a difference having 20-some lap or 17-lap fresher tires here?
We will keep track of Chris Wright here as we go, and his progress back through the field. If he isn't dumped by someone running very much faster than him, I think he will be back where he would be restarting if he were to come down pit road right now. So Brandon Key and Richard Hines have retired their cars from the race after that incident. We were unable to show. Was kind of actually, I think Key is back on track here in 30th spot. So it's just Hines who's parked it for the day. There was a lot of damage on that car. It was upside down at one point on the back straightaway.
I guess the big thing that you got to worry about if you're right is that long green flag stretch, right? If you get hung out, now you got older tires that you're hung out for. You probably have to come pit under green before all these guys. So
let's see what Emily has from Chris Wright. Emily, what you got?
Hey, so I talked to Chris. He said he did not know that everybody was going to pit right there. So that's why he stayed out. And he said he's just hoping that, in 15 or 20 laps, they'll get some more cautions and he'll be able to get in there. So his teammates were giving him a pretty hard time for it, though.
Wright's going to get the jump on green flag here, and we'll have to see if these old tires hold up at all. You can see just how little grip they have. Poor Chris Wright's going to be heading to the back.
Here comes Crump and Lytle teaming up again to the inside, going to make it 3 wide. They shoved right to the top. He's already lost 5, now make it 6, 7, possibly 8 spots within the first corner.
Come down pit road, even if you lose all that track position, at least you're going to be on the attack coming through the field. Right now just going to try to hang on and hope for a caution, and I think he'll be back at 20th, 25th place by the time a caution might even come out. He's going to now hold up Nick Massey. That's not good. Massey is tucked up behind him, can't go anywhere. He's going to have to wait for James Heater to clear by.
Meanwhile, battle rages on at the front, 5 cars. Here comes Adams to the inside of Crump for the lead. They're 2 by 2. 2 rows deep. You got Lutz and Lytle battling for 3rd and 4th. Mogart in the battle. Here comes Campbell as well, trying to make it a 6-car battle here up front.
Oh man, Adams got up high, kind of pushed Crump up the track. That's going to give Josh Adams the run to the lead. And Tate Lytle trying to push him through. Adams the leader at the stripe. Then Lytle going to try to sneak by Scott Crump. Lutz in behind Lytle. Ryan Lutz, he's sneaking up towards the front as per usual. Ethan Burrell still hanging out in about 10th spot. So Lutz still trying to buoy that points gap he's got with the regular season title. And what a run it's been. Adams throws the block.
Crump did a great job there to slide down in front of Lytle. We've seen him many times this season hanging on that top side and really fight to stay in it. Here they're going to make contact. Crump.
He's going to spin it out. He might get clobbered here. Everyone sinks it.
Through the infield goes Crump. He's going to save it and get it rolling once again. What a save by the 51 car. Caution will now come out, though. And that's going to benefit Wright.
I wonder if someone didn't. No, it's not going to benefit Wright. Wright was run over in that incident, and that's what happened. Chris Wright's going to be the one who crashes, so the old tire strategy does not work out at all for Chris Wright. He checks up off the corner when he sees an issue there, and I think Kyle Hanshaw is the one who gets in the back of Wright and runs him over. No, it's Brandon Key. Josh Clark spins out as well, so Clark and Wright both having those pit issues, and neither one of them get any benefit from it.
Oh, he's going to have to come down pit road anyway, so come down, probably have a little bit. Probably going to have a little bit longer of a pit stop than he wanted, but probably try to repair some of that damage and get back out there.
Scott Crump did a whale of a job, and then everybody behind him did a whale of a job to save it. It was Brandon Key and Josh Clark that just kind of bounced off of a couple of people, and one of them was poor Chris Wright. That's what is going to cause this incident. We're also trying to get the cars loading here. It's that button in the options that's going to allow for, I believe, it's like under graphics, and then it lets you draw all cars. And if you can do that, then we'll have all the cars on screen. But we're losing cars quickly. I think Brandon Key might be hurt for the day. Chris Wright might be hurt. So it's quickly falling apart here. So here we go. Let's see if we can't maybe get the replay going of that incident. And I think we'll be able to see it. At least we'll be able to see what happened to Chris Scott Crump and to make that save. That was an incredible piece of driving by the 51 car, but it's going to put him way back in the field now. In fact, he is, I believe, come down pit road, and now is back in 23rd. So Chris Wright losing all that, or Scott Crump and Chris Wright both, but mostly Crump losing all that track position. He'll now be back down in the field trying to make his way back up. Emily, what you got for us?
Hey guys, so I just jumped down to chat with Scott to see what happened there, and he said he had no idea. He thinks he got a little bit of contact. He said Josh was blocking him, so that's how he missed what was going on there. But he said his car definitely had a little bit of damage. We'll see if it's a lot or what's going on there in a little bit. We'll check back in with them.
So definitely a tough break for Scott Crump. He bounces off of Tate Lytle, spins it out, saves it, but creates that incident behind them. I wonder if we can go back and take a look at what happened to Chris Wright there. If we do have the replay, I'm not entirely sure that we will. So, all right, well, we'll try to get you guys a replay of the next incident that happens. For now, it's Josh Adams leading Tate Lytle, Ryan Lutz, Jared Mogart, and Gerald Campbell. I know our scoring there doesn't seem to be quite up to date. Adams is the race leader. So we'll have to, yeah, there it is. So the system we've got running right now, it seems to be not loading the last 3 cars in the server. So those are the kind of the technical difficulties we're working against. We'll figure it out though, and I think as guys retire, we'll be all right. I think at some point, Emily, we'll have to send you down to the Apex Sim Racing pit and see what happened. Why Damian Leininger is so far back now. He's back in 24th place. So I don't know where the 12 car fell there, why he fell down so far, but certainly after running in the top 10 early in this one, not the start Damian Leininger has looked for this race. I mean, he has had a dreadful season. 36th in points right now for the 12th Damian Leininger.
Yeah, and looked like he was going to have a rebound last week and just I think he got involved in a wreck or had some issues or something, didn't he?
Last week he finished second.
Oh, did he?
Natural. Yep.
Maybe it was the All-Star race I was thinking of.
And then he has had a string of bad finishes, ending with that second place run last week. A desperately needed good run for Damian. So if he is hoped to have any hope of sliding into the playoffs, he's got to win a race. He has to move up and pick one out and get a win here. And there's a bunch of tracks still to go, but time is starting to dwindle on the regular season, and that's why we've been so focused on this playoff battle between Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell, because they are pretty much the only ones with that regular season championship in their sights at this point.
Josh Adams, Tate Lytle ready to lead us back to the green flag here. The day's gone by. 150.
Should be another chaotic restart here. No old tires out front to, I think, hold things up. We only ran a couple of laps there under green, so I envision this restart be a lot less chaotic than the last one, and we'll try to spread them out and get another large chunk of green flag laps under our belts.
Yeah, they have 10 laps on. They'll have 10 laps on their tires when they come back to green here, but at least half of those have been caution laps. So let's see what happens here.
Josh Adams, Tate Lytle. Josh was throwing blocks for the race lead. Tate and Crump bounced off of one another. A little bit racing a little bit hard there on lap 26. And we'll have to see if those guys keep going at that pace. If they do, it might be another short run. Adams goes as soon as the pace car goes off. Early restart for the 95. That's going to open it up for Ryan Lutz to move into second spot.
Yeah, caught Tate Lytle napping there. He'll slide into the third spot. Mogart, who's stuck behind him, he'll slide into fourth, and Jared Campbell will round out your top 5.
And it's the leader is in such a position of power there when you don't know what is up with the leader around you. If you're not in the call with them, you have absolutely no idea when they're going, and if you're on the outside lane, it's just difficult to get the power down. Tate Lytle has did absolutely nothing wrong there. He just was the victim of the restart being in the hands of the leader on iRacing. Battle for 7.
Yeah, here comes Ethan Burrell looking to the inside of Colin Fambro. Got the line. We'll see if he can make it work off the corner. Fambro fighting hard for the 7th position.
Battles all around now as guys are starting to make their move. Definitely a calmer restart, though. We immediately shuffled into single file, but Ethan Burrell does clear Fambro, and into 6th goes the 37 car. So one of our top points getters of the season, as another caution comes out. The car crashes on the front straightaway. It's going to be a big one. Jeff Green involved. And Michael Goodman's in it. Chad Bear is in it. This happened exiting 4 right behind the camera shot we were on. Big damage. Is that Nick Indelicato or Josh Sobel with big damage?
Sobel.
Oh, Josh Sobel. Heavy damage. Josh Clark, heavy damage. So he was involved in the last incident as well. Let's see if we can't go back and take a look at what happened there. Coming off of turn 4. See what we have here. Looks like what happened was Chad Bear and Jeff Green lost it coming off the corner. Just outright spun to the inside. Marshall Stanley got sideways. Josh Sobel nowhere to go. Plowed into the back bumper of Jeff Green. Looks like Harrison Talon was involved. Michael Goodman gets some damage. And it was a lot of the field behind them checking up is what caused all this chaos exiting turn 4. Marshall Stanley got a big piece of it. Nick Indelicato did get some damage, but nowhere near as much as Sobel. Sobel got absolutely clobbered. See, there's an incredible move in here by Johnny Thomas, Richard Lafferty sneaking through, Nick Indelicato also. And yeah, off turn 4, everything just kind of piles up. And watch, I believe it's Josh Sobel going to come in there and clobber Jeff Green. We may not have had the replay for him there, but you can see the car scattering. Let's see if we can go on Johnny Thomas's onboard and watch him fly through this wreck. Because that sure was something. He did a great job getting through there. Another big wreck taking out a bunch of more of the back of the pack, but still some contenders taking out. Jeff Green, Marshall Stanley. I think Nick Indelicato is going to have some damage to the right rear of that machine. He's come down pit road. He sacrificed the track position, so that damage may have been heavy. Cameron Rich did a wonderful job sneaking through this wreck. Here's Johnny Thomas there. We'll see if we can get him side by side with Thomas Sherman too, and spinning. Nowhere to go. Ike, not Thomas Sherman. Sorry, those guys drive very similarly colored cars. All that though, Scott Crump did sneak through that wreck with no damage, so he will be able to pick up some track position. I believe he's up to 23rd now. For Scott Crump, we might need to send Emily down and see if we can get a word in with, I don't know, maybe Josh Sobel. He's in there with Scott Crump, so he got clobbered in that wreck. While we're waiting, Ryan Lutz still running 2nd. Remember, we will at halfway in this race award points, bonus points for the top 10 drivers, as NASCAR does a stage. That can impact our points race, and right now Ryan Lutz, a 1-point gap over Ethan Burrell. The 36 and the 37 have been a nose to tail all season, just detailing that points battle once again, because it's been a doozy so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Lutz in 2nd. I think you just said Burrell in 7th. So we'll see. Ethan was coming before that caution came out. Matthew Weeks back on the climb as well. He's back up to the 6th position after falling back a little bit.
Yep, Weeks looks good. He's the kind of driver who wants to take care of his stuff early in the race, wants to get it to the end, and if he can do that, if he can drop back and then move back to the front, Weeks tends to do that. It's not always a strategy that works in his favor. He can get caught up in stuff by doing that, but hopefully Weeks can kind of put one together here and make it work. So Emily joined us back in the booth. Emily, what you got?
Yes, hey guys, I talked to all the guys in, gosh, what group were they in? Let's see, Lowline Racing. Josh said pretty much he just saw a smoke screen in front of him. He couldn't see anything. He said he checked up because he saw everyone else was checking up and pretty much blew his engine. So he still needs to wait to see how badly his car was damaged. I talked to Scott Crump. He said he's just hoping that everything just goes green here because he said he can make it on one stop and everyone in front of him can't. And then talked to James Heater, and he said he's just trying to save tires at this point. So that is the update from the Lowline guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. And I feel like James Heater is always in tire-saving mode. That guy seems to always be attempting to save tire and end up with a finish better, a green flag run better than he had the last time out. So we'll have to see if that works out for James Heater. Green flag's about to come back out for Josh Adams. He went right when the pace car left the track last time. Let's see if he does it again.
I'm sure Tate Lytle loves his starting position this time because he's going to be right behind that 95 car on the inside lane. Lutz goes to the outside. Mogard will be on the outside of row number 2, and then will be Campbell and Weeks in row number 3.
Lutz sneaks to the inside there and just makes it up, makes all that ground up. He's now going to be right on the back bumper of Josh Adams looking for the race lead. Here comes Ryan Lutz. Adams doesn't throw the block this time, and I think Lutz definitely was going to have the lead that whole time. He flies into the corner, 36 to the lead.
Yeah, I think Adams might have checked up a little bit to try to cut back underneath Lutz there, or Adams checked up to cut under Lutz, but couldn't get it done. Lutz carried a big run of momentum into that corner.
Well, for fourth, Gerald Campbell driving by Jared Mogard. Ethan Burrell's going to follow Campbell underneath Mogard. So Ethan Burrell trying to work his way up into the top 5 now for the first time all day. Started 19th in that 37, but he's driven his way into the top 5.
Here he comes, trying to make his mark and regain the points lead. Is Burrell? Sure.
1 point gap.
I'm sure he's happy to have a clean, fresh race car at the moment, instead of having to deal with cautions each of the last few weeks right off the start.
Oh, look at all these guys, single file, and the one car up in the top lane is Joshua Personette, and he's making up ground up there. Just flew around James Heater and Dylan Thomas, now going around Colin Fambro, making it work. Josh Personette in this 18 car, not expecting a long run. He's trying to play for the short run and pick up as much truck position as he can. They wreck behind, Heater around, Thomas around. Caution will wave, oh, maybe not.
Got a slow car on the inside there too. Is that the 25? Coming off pit road.
But I don't think that was related. Stanley was fixing damage from the last track. I think that all happened in a place where the caution doesn't fly. So
battle for fourth.
Yeah, just disappointing there. Is I believe it was Thomas and somebody came together.
Dylan Thomas and was it Mogard? Fambro. Yeah, there you go. Hey, look at this.
Burrell.
Yeah, he has took a line out of Personette's playbook here, and he is charging to the front using that same line. He's up to the 3rd spot, now coming for the 2nd spot on Josh Adams.
Personette has flown into the 5th spot. Where did he come from? Personette has not been really all that competitive all season long. The outside lane seems to be the way to go right now. Ethan Burrell, Josh Personette, they are the ones that are charging up on that top lane, making it work. That's pretty cool. A little lane change where the grip just seems to have shifted to the top. I mean, these guys are really making it work and making up ground.
Yeah, but now you look at Burrell and Personette, and then you look back at Mogard, and Mogard is not making up that ground. He's kind of stuck right now with Weeks, not gaining any ground. So wonder what the difference is between the 18 and the 37 compared to the 00 car.
It's interesting. I mean, maybe Mogard has been running the bottom, practicing the bottom, not really attempting that top lane. And you know, Josh Personette, what does he have to lose? He hasn't been really running for points this season. He hasn't been hitting those results really all that well, but man, he's shocking me right now, jumping up into this top 5, looking very racy. A great run early by Josh Personette. This is one of the most impressive, surprising runs I've seen in the ERSCA series. I mean, Personet's 40th in points. He's only made 6 starts this year. He did finish in the top 5 in the Daytona 500, but we remember that that race ended in a bit of a chaotic way where people just kind of ended up in certain finishing spots based on wreck avoidance. Personet showing legitimate speed here. He's not nearly been able to get it back up to the back bumper of Josh Adams, though. This car seems to be maybe fading a little bit. He might have used up the rubber up on that top group.
Here comes Gerald Campbell. He went around Tate Lytle 2-3 laps ago to get into the top 5. Now here comes for the 4th spot on Personet. He's going to make that pass out of turn 4 that time. Lytle looking under Personet as well, and I think you're right, David. The 18 car might be going backwards now.
The 31 car fell 4 positions in the points last week alone after the dreadful week race there at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Gerald was up battling for this regular season championship. Now he's settled for battling for a chase spot, but a top 5 run is absolutely what the doctor ordered for Gerald Campbell. Tate Lytle 3rd in points. He's sitting nicely in playoff contention with his 2 wins. Tate's going to be in the hunt for the championship, one of our title contenders all year long. But right now, 1-2 are our title contenders. Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell, of course, running 1-2 in this race.
I know, doesn't it? I was just going to say, this makes it that much more interesting and exciting up here at the front.
He even slapped the wall exiting 2. Hopefully that doesn't change the balance of that 37 car. Josh Adams going to take advantage and jump to the inside.
Let's see if Burrell will fight him off here or let him go. They're even as they come off the line back to the stripe. Going to complete lap 42 of 150. Looking at being a third of the way through.
Letting him get away.
I think Adams, he's got the line here to get around him.
That's what it looks like. Ethan hit it again. Ethan hit the wall again. I don't know if he's really doing any damage to that 37 car, but he's running it right on the edge of being able to control that thing and not get it into the fence. They are actually running Ryan Lutz down once again.
Yeah, they're catching that
side by side.
Catching that 36 car. Good battle here for second, though. Good, clean racing. Finally, Burrell checks up and let Adams have the position. Slot into the 3rd spot. Tate Lytle coming back over, after Campbell for the 4th spot.
Yeah, Tate's really, really good on older tires, just in general. Very fast driver, especially once the tires wear. He's very good at keeping the speed in that car. We'll see if Tate can make his way back to the front. Matthew Weeks up here into 7th spot. Personet has fallen back to 8th. That was a very impressive move to get up into 4th by Personet. It has not worked out in the long term. And for now, he's going to settle into the top 10 and do his best. But with Nick Massey right behind him, I think he'll be losing another spot down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the case. We'll keep an eye on it as we go along. But it looks like the top 7 or 8 have now settled into single file. Riding around here a little bit.
Looking for, especially Scott Crump was looking for a long green flag run. Crump running 12th, and kind of mentioned it to Emily earlier. He's the only one who can make it on one more stop. He's challenging Johnny Thomas for 11th now. Gotta wonder if Scott Crump is maybe licking his chops with the way this race has suddenly turned to green flag only. Oh, never mind. Caution is out, and it's a pretty big crash there in turn number 1. Can't tell who it was that was involved in that one. I think it might have been the 25 car once again of Marshall Stanley. Nope, wasn't him. Figure it out here. Chris Wright in the 69 got up and into Nick and Delicato, it looks like. Nope, might have been Nick and Delicato. See if we can see what happened here on the replay. Oh, it's Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas with fresh tires tried to drive around Chris Wright, and after getting involved in his incident earlier, and he turns right head on into the wall, both Thomas and Wright with some heavy damage. And that is not what Scott Crump wanted to see, I can tell you that right now. Use the replay on this one, and Chris Wright tries to go around Dylan Thomas and just gets turned right in the head on the fence. First replay we've been able to show you guys, and it's a little mundane overall. Some of these other wrecks have been really, really heavy. This one, not so much. So, see, Ryan Lutz down pit road.
Looks like everybody is. Right now, I think the few cars that have stayed out are a lap down or getting the wave around. So it looks like everybody's coming down pit road.
Yeah, as kind of Scott Crump mentioned, I think now everyone can make it on one more pit stop, but I envision we're going to have a number of more cautions. So this race has just seemed to be difficult for these guys to pass, and they have to try more than they otherwise would, in my opinion. And that's what's going to kind of create these incidents. It's just so difficult. Once things string out in single file, you can't give up any ground. You have to go hard. Otherwise, it's all over. Gerald Campbell, I believe, sped on pit road. 31 car, headed to the back, slapped with the penalty. Tough break for Gerald Campbell. He was running in 3rd or 4th spot. 31 car, now headed to the back. Also a bad pit stop for Tate Lytle. He's going to be way in the back. Lytle's going to be about 15th. Might even be 20th for the 56 car. So a pair of bad pit stops by guys in the top 5. Going to change up the running order pretty drastically. For now, it's Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell. They're still 1-2, but I think behind them, things are going to get shaken up. Here they go as they run it across the line for us, give us an update. It'll be Lutz, Burrell, Adams, Weeks, and then Mogard. The top 5. Nick Massey is up to 6th.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Key stayed out here. Marshall Stanley's in front of him, but I think Key's still on the lead lap, and he did not come down pit road.
For in terms of the Noble Prize, Cameron Rich has retired the 47 car. May have had an engine issue or a computer issue, something along those lines, but Rich is gone from this race, and he will finish back in the mid-20s. A disappointing result for the 47 car. Yeah. Brandon Key is staying out currently, though we will see if he comes down pit road next time by. Emily, what you got for us?
Hey guys, so I just jumped down to talk to the Apex crew. Dylan said, he thought he had top 20 speed, but obviously got into a situation there. Talked to Damien, because I know he kind of wondered what happened to him. He said he hit the wall coming out of turn 1 a few laps ago, so that was the reason why he dropped back so much. So that's the update from those guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. We'll have to keep following along with all of our kind of favorite teams here. Man, we'll have to wonder if Brandon Key is going to attempt this stay-out strategy. We saw it not work at all for Chris Wright, put him in the back where he was inevitably turned by Dylan Thomas. Dylan obviously turned by, I believe that was Colin Fambro. I think he might have gotten involved with Colin Fambro exiting turn 4. So a lot has happened in this race. None of it to our points leaders, though. Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell just hanging out 1-2, or not really 2-3 right now, but they'll be 1-2 entering turn 1.
Yeah, a very calm night here for Ethan Burrell after, I don't know, was it 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row where he got involved in an early caution and had to battle back with multiple stops down pit road to just come back and fight for a top 10, top 5.
You could even call starting 19th a bad start to the race for Ethan Burrell, though he has had no issues climbing to the front of the field. He has been very quick all day long. Qualifying was not the be-all end-all of this 37 car today, that's for sure. We'll have to monitor the progress of Tate Lytle and Gerald Campbell through the field. Tate will be restarting 17th, Gerald 23rd. So a couple of top 5 speed cars going to be battling through the field here as we get ready to go green, and there's a car with 20 lap old tires in the front row. This could be chaotic. See what Brandon Key does here. The old tires did not work for Chris Wright. Will they work for Key? Green flag is out. Key and Adams both get a pretty good jump. Let's see if the tires matter at all. It seems like the faster cars are just eating up Brandon Key immediately entering turn 1. Looks like he's just standing still out there. It's a tough, man. I just don't know. Wouldn't he have seen that it didn't work before?
Yeah, who knows? Tough to tell when you're in race how effective you can see that payoff. Oh, Mogard's on the apron. Where's that person at?
Personette slid sideways in front of Crump. Probably obliterated the rear tires of that 18 car, but he kept it straight. Great save by Josh Personette. Tate Lytle is going to benefit a lot from this. Everybody kind of checked up around him. Tate kept it in the gas. Moved Tate up probably into the top 10, honestly. He shot through there, gained at least 5 spots.
Third of the way.
Get out of that too. Maybe it's got now 3 wide with My Hand and Indelicato. That's a dangerous spot to be in. 12 car held it together up on top.
A third of the way through here, through the days gone by. 150 at Charlotte. Crossed into lap 53. Burrell getting a little bit of a run here on Lutz. They've been able to keep him within touch and have not been able to challenge him yet for the lead.
Weeks is maybe hanging back a little bit. He's kind of fallen into the clutches of Thomas Sherman, and it's a 4-car race in front of him. Mogard, the one kind of forcing Adams to run up, but everyone's chasing Ryan Lutz. Seems like Lutz has some really good speed through the center of the corner where no one else can really gain on him. Burrell, the only one to really keep up with him so far, and once Lutz has gotten to the lead, gotten in that clean air, he hasn't relinquished it yet.
I think we mentioned it either a week or two ago, but this number change for Thomas Sherman definitely has, I think, worked in the right direction. We've seen him running up front more and having stronger runs. Here he is again, running solidly in the top 10.
Sherman has been incredibly unlucky, all things considered, but you know, the way I see it, this 17 car has turned things around recently. 16th and 17th his last 2 weeks, but has run better than that. He has run in the top 5, picked up stage points at the halfway point. That 17 car looks very, very racy, and today, once again, running 6th here, looking very strong. Certainly one of the cars to watch out for in this mid-pack.
He's going to have a challenge here in a minute because here comes Scott Crump, Nick Massey, and they're leading a host of others right behind him.
This front battle is starting to tighten up once again. Ethan Burrell just keeps inching closer to the back bumper of that Ryan Lutz machine. These two have been nose to tail so much this season, man. It reminds me of like the 1982 season when Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki just kept trading the points lead back and forth. Maybe even 1996, Terry Labonte and Jeff Gordon. That's what it's reminded me of. These guys have been so close together all year long.
Yeah, and there's no indication that that's going to change throughout the rest of the season. It's going to be fun to watch these two go at it, and it's going to be fun to watch the rest of the group and all the talented drivers in here to see who can spoil the party and win some races.
You know, the playoff, the chase system, we run kind of an older chase system format back when they had 10 drivers, top 10 in points, make the playoffs automatically, and then they had 2 wild cards, race winners. If you had race winners outside the top 10, the highest 2 in points, they were in, or it would be the highest in points, 11th in points, 12th in points, etc. So 2 wild card spots, 10 points finishers, and then 10 races. I believe we have to narrow it down and to determine who's going to win this playoff. I think it might be 6 races actually. Now that I think about it, these guys are going to battle it out on various tracks and really push hard for this championship. And everyone's going to get a reset, which is kind of the idea of that playoff format. Guys like Ryan Lutz, Ethan Burrell having a massive kind of insurmountable lead based on how well they run, that gets erased. And then one bad race really eats things up, evens things up in terms of the points battle.
Yeah, it'll definitely make it interesting. We're closing in. We're past the halfway point here in the season. Closing in on that playoff push. Trying to get in.
Matthew Bayuk down and underneath Nick Massey after Tate Lytle opened the door. We haven't talked much about Bayuk. He's right on the bubble in that playoff hunt. Another one of those guys who's just really close. 12th in points right now, which would put him outside looking in. He's going to need good runs. This is a good run right here. Running P9. Got to have them every single week if you want to make it into this chase. Massey back here in 10th, just not the speed we've been expecting to see out of this 48 car. After he broke the Schneid last week and won a race, kind of thought he'd kind of keep that up, keep that momentum up, run really well today, but that has not been the case. He's been a 10th place car just about all day long. Scott Crump challenging Thomas Sherman for 6th place up ahead of this group. He's all over the back bumper of Sherman, and one thing we've seen with Scott Crump and those around him is that misfortune tends to befall Scott Crump. He has been wildly inconsistent this year, and not always of his own making. Sometimes it is, but oh man, he has been involved in a whole lot of stuff.
Adams has got back around Burrell for the 2nd position, trying to run down Lutz himself now. He swapped and Mogard in the mix. Top 4 cars. A slight little breakaway here from Weeks in the 5th spot.
Just riding there. That's exactly what that 11 car wants. He's historically the guy who tries to find that hole just to get some laps and then strike when the time is right. Ethan Burrell, I wondered if he was maybe cooling off his tires a little bit when Adams got by, trying to make a run at Ryan Lutz. Now Adams the one who's trying to chase down Ryan Lutz, and it just seems like the way this package is going, everyone just very even, very difficult for anybody to pull away. Now that it's strung out, very difficult for passes to be made as well. You're pretty much in your bed, whatever you've got in terms of track position. Gerald Campbell hasn't moved forward at all. He's back in 21st still.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of settled in again, ready to run this one out if it goes green again, and just kind of ride along for a little bit.
Weirdly enough, it's calmed down right as we've gotten up towards this halfway stage where these guys can pick up a bunch of extra playoff points. I mean, 10 will be given out to Ryan Lutz once we hit lap 75, 9 to Adams, and so forth. Battle is for 7th right now. Tate Lytle and Scott Crump side by side. They have been side by side before. That's when Scott Crump nearly spun out to the inside of the front straightaway. It was with Tate Lytle. Nothing doing there, though. It's just difficult to pass right now.
So what's I know we haven't even had to worry about it or even consider worrying about it, but what would you say the length of run that can go on here is?
50 to 60 laps, I think. You know, we talked about them being able to make it on one more stop. I think it's got to be over 60. In that case, Scott Crump pretty confident he was going to make it with one more stop with about lap 40. So I'm thinking 60 laps to a run. These guys are going to have to manage their tires if they want to do that, though. Look back at Gerald Campbell just has not had any luck coming back to the front.
Burrell just sweeped right under Josh Adams and took that 2nd spot back away, and he's going to go back under Lutz. Here comes Weeks taking a look under Mogard for the 4th spot.
Yeah, Mogard really kind of the one guy in this group that doesn't run with this crowd of people week in and week out. The ERSCA special, a lot of these guys run elite on Mondays and Wednesdays all together, and Jared Mogard, one of those who doesn't do that. So he's up into 3rd, though. The Mogard machine seems to be quite racy today. Not something we've seen from Mogard. We've seen him have about 5th place speed, but hasn't been able to jump up and challenge for any of these race wins. He's 10th in points, though. He's really got to have these good runs if he wants to make it into the playoffs.
Still kind of calm around the racetrack, especially back through the top 10. Single file just kind of riding around. Kind of evenly spaced out at the moment, too.
Yeah, all those early wrecks really took out a lot of the rear of the field. A lot of those guys unable to make passes at this point with their race damage. Nicky Delicato did just go around Damian Leininger, so that's a change for position. Now underneath Josh Adams is Matthew Weeks, the pole sitter, trying to take 4th away. Also Johnny Thomas trying to battle into the top 11. He gets it over Josh Personette.
Thomas Sherman is going to go underneath Adams as well, try to take that spot away.
12th is still a darn good run for Josh Personette. He has, I don't think that he's had a run like that at a 1.5-mile track in any series in a long time. This is a really, really strong run for Josh Personette. He's had speed. He's got a top 10 car. Just needs to keep it clean, bring her home with a really good run, and build that confidence for the next time out. It does a wonder if just having a couple of good runs in a row will do for your confidence, and Personette has definitely needed that.
Trump and Lytle up into the 7th and 8th positions. They've kind of stalled out a little bit on their march forward.
Ooh, person that just spun it off turn 2. Man, I just talked about him too. God, that sucks. Caution's out for the 18 car on that spin off turn 2, and that's right before the halfway point. We might even hit the halfway point during this caution. We'd have to probably check in with Johnny Eckert and make sure that we know when the caution or when the halfway points are going to be awarded. I assume they'll just be awarded at whatever lap 75 hits, but now's the time to make that no tire pit call, in my opinion. Don't come down pit road this time. Points are being awarded in 5 laps. Gosh, person that just lost it there, got loose off of turn 2, bounced it off the inside wall. What a disappointing run, or spin rather, for a guy who was having a really strong run today. It was really, really solid. He's still in the lead lap though, he can still get it back. Yeah, really tough race though for him. I feel for him, man. He's been looking for good runs and deserving those results. And he looked like he deserved a really good result today. Just didn't, get it all the way there. Yeah.
Looks like everybody's going to come down pit road once again.
Yeah, see, this is where, I mean, if I'm like a Damian Leininger or something, it might be worth it to stay out right here, right? You might be able to sneak out. Nick and Delicato stayed out. So somebody decided to jump on it and try to get those points because Gerald Campbell's going to stay out. Finally, some guys are going to try to stay out at an opportune time that this actually makes some sense. It hasn't made sense before, I'm sorry. But we'll see these guys. We got Richard Lafferty, Gerald Campbell, some of these guys just on the outside looking into the playoffs. I mean, 10 points could be everything when it comes down to determining who gets into this 10-car playoff. Or I guess 12-car playoff, but those wild cards I think are going to be taken up by race winners. So unless you've won a race, which a lot of these guys have not, it's definitely smart to go ahead and get those points if you can. And it's going to be right on the border with whether or not these guys get any points at all.
Yeah, it'll be close. They're coming off pit road now, heading.
I think it's going to be one lap from the green flag until we award points at 75.
So Lutz and Burrell went the race off pit road. Weeks had a good pit stop. He comes out 3rd.
It's the power of being the pole sitter. You get that hole shot where you don't have to worry about pit road speed because you can't get up to 35 miles an hour in time for the thing to ding you for speeding. So Matthew Weeks able to jump up and pick up 3 spots, but that doesn't particularly matter here. These guys are going to be restarting 5th, 6th, and 7th. Can they get around all these guys in one corner? And can any of these guys, Nick and Delicato, Richard Lafferty, Gerald Campbell, can any of them manage to stay there and get a couple of points? I mean, that's the real question, is can they hang in the top 10 to get some points?
Well, we've seen those guys on old tires get blown by 8 to 10 cars in the opening corner. So it's going to be tough for them to do so, but like David said, they got to give themselves a shot.
Right, and there's points on the line this time. I mean, before, Chris Wright and Brandon Key both just jumped to the top and let everybody go by. They knew they weren't going to be able to hang. Now these guys have buddies. 4 cars are out there trying to make this work and grab points. They're all on the same strategy. So none of them are going to be pulling over for Ryan Lutz and Ethan Burrell. They're going to be trying to stay in the top 10 and get as many points as possible. And if they have to, they're going to hold their lines. They're going to be running as hard as they can. This could certainly cause an incident, and it could be altering for the playoff picture. For guys on the bubble, maybe who need a clean run and good run. Somebody like Thomas Sherman, Jared Bogart, some of those guys, if they get caught up in something here, I mean, that could alter things. So you have to be very, very careful, very cautious if you're one of those cars on tires, because you're going to get through. You're going to get your points. It's just a matter of whether or not you can dispatch of all of these cars before they come back around. We'll get one to go, and then it will literally be, I believe, 1 lap till the stage. So Nick and Delicato's just going to have to hold on for 1 lap in order to get 10 bonus points in towards his playoff hopes. Boy, this could really shake the race up, man, if Lutz gets into somebody going through here.
Yeah, it could get very interesting, very hairy, and we'll see what happens. getting ready to go back green here this time. Halfway through the Day's gone by 150.
Luckily for Ethan Burrell, Josh Clark is his teammate, but I'd be worried if I was in that top group. Man, Clark has no front nose on that 28 car. That car has been through hell and back, as it were. It's been very, very damaged. He's been involved in several incidents. Might be down on horsepower, so hopefully Clark gives Ethan a little bit of room, but I'm not so sure that 28 car isn't going to hold up the outside lane and allow Ryan Lutz to kind of run away with this stage win. One lap till the stage.
Yep, behind these guys, it is Lutz and Burrell, your 2 points leaders. Then Weeks, Mogard, Sherman, Crump, Lytle, and Adams.
Adams
running order.
Fell hard through that run and then back into the 10th spot after pit stops. So tough break for Josh Adams. He had been running top 2 early in this one.
Here we go. Nick and Delicato and Richard and Lafferty. Haven't said that much this season. On the front row, ready to go back to green.
There they go.
Green flag in the air. Lutz trying to time up the restart. Clark did not get a good restart. He's going to hold Burrell up here.
Lutz is going to have a field day with these guys. Gerald throws the block on Lutz. Lutz is not going to be able to get in Delicato this lap, I don't believe. It's going to take a Herculean effort from Ryan Lutz to get all these points. Here comes Ethan Burrell to challenge Lutz. And this strategy is going to pay off for everybody except for Josh Clark, I think.
Burrell getting a big run. They're getting a big run on Indelicato here. Might just run out of time.
Indelicato tries to hold him off. Give it to Nick Indelicato at the line. And the caution is out and behind. Wow, what a run.
Half a car there for Nick Indelicato holding off Ryan Lutz. He slid up, got a push from Burrell, but could not get there in time.
Oof, I think it's going to be Zishan Dura that gets spun out here and caught up in something. It might have been Michael Goodman along with him there. Yep, Zishan, Goodman, and Brandon Key. They're going to get damage in this one, but Zishan and Goodman look for 2. Yeah, you see it right there. Big damage for Zishan. Goodies all torn up. That car looks to be junked. Nick Indelicato wins the stage, gets the immediate caution. He'll be able to come down pit road, strap 4 fresh ones on it. And Gerald Campbell gets 4th place points, and Richard Lafferty gets 6th place points in the stage. So that worked out great for those guys. Josh Clark falls to 12th. He will not get stage points, but a worthy effort for sure. I think the car being down on horsepower is what did him.
Yeah, he got shuffled to the top of the racetrack, and backwards he went, just like we've seen other cars.
So all that battling, 1 point was earned by Ryan Lutz over Ethan Burrell and all that. The points lead now sits at 2 for Ryan Lutz. But even when Lutz has a great run, second in the stage, still only gains 1 point on Ethan Burrell. That's how close these guys have been all year. Reset things here, make sure we have all our scoring up to date, but I think the order on the left of your screen is the correct order for the top 10. Note that now includes Matthew Bayuk and Johnny Thomas in the top 10 in the 83 car. So Johnny working his way up, he's quite competitive in that back end of the top 10. I think he's going to have a good chance at making a solid run into this top 10.
Another guy that needs a good run here.
Yep, another guy who needs the run for the points. Johnny is 21st in points. He needs something good to happen this season. Had a lot of bad luck there in the middle portion of it.
This is our 6th caution we've had so far, so.
Very surprisingly chaotic race. You know, for Charlotte, I wouldn't expect it to be nearly this chaotic, but I think it's the lack of passing, honestly. The inability to do anything when you get up behind somebody creates that desperation. You gotta pull a move off. You gotta go to the top. You gotta drive it harder than the guy around you, and these cars are getting a little bit on edge. You saw Goodman get sideways there, bounce it off of Joe Francis. We've seen that before. Jeff Green did the same thing and crashed his car. Trying to think of another wreck that kind of happened in. We've either seen that or we've seen guys kind of come down on each other in the straightaways, where Tate Lytle and Scott Crump made contact on the front straightaway, where Chris Wright and Dylan Thomas got together on the front straightaway. It's been very similar incidents throughout the year or throughout the race so far.
David, I was also just looking at the schedule. I know we have next week off, but could it also be people know that there's only 3 more races left to go to the playoffs? Could that be part of why people are being so impatient here tonight?
Enough. I mean, I don't know. You know, it hasn't been guys that are involved in the playoffs. You know, it's been a whole lot of those guys that are kind of out the back. Seems like the playoff guys, Jared Mogard, Nick Indelicato, Matthew Bayuk, they've been minding their P's and Q's. It's the guys who are about 15th, 20th in points that we've seen kind of run into problems. Josh Clark, 14th in points, has definitely found his share of incidents today. Colin Fambro, 13th. Brandon Scott isn't even here this week, so a bunch of these guys just haven't thrown together good races, and that's been disappointing for sure. I'm a little bit shocked, honestly, that it's been this chaotic, and given those that it has been chaotic around. I mean, we've seen like Zishan Dura and Michael Goodman; those guys are 25th or so in points.
So you were pretty dang close on your guess there in the playoffs. It's going to be 7 races. Pretty close with your 6 race guess.
Oh yeah, I have to edit it in my mind because usually I'm thinking it's 36 races, 10 race playoff, but I tried to short it down a little bit. 7 races. That's going to be a good amount of time for these guys to to determine a winner, and a long playoff amount of races where you can make mistakes and still come back during 7 races. I think any less than that, it might be difficult for you to make those mistakes early in the playoffs and then come back from them.
All right, getting ready to go green once again. Gonna still have 70 laps to go here in this one. Burrell and Lutz gonna lead us back to the green flag, and Lutz gonna draw the 2-3 car length lead off the restart.
Gotta take advantage of having a teammate there in third, drop down in front of Matthew Weeks. Now tries the middle lane there, entering turn 1. Mogard's going to scoot around Weeks to third.
Burrell tucks into second. Sherman and Lytle doing battle for 5th and 6th.
Watch out in the back of the field here because it's been kind of a madhouse back there. A lot of these guys doing battle. For now, though, it's all good, and Sherman and Lytle is the first battle on track.
Burrell is all over the back of Ryan Lutz there, entering the corner. Lutz able to pull away by half a car through the corner. We'll see what Burrell can close back in.
Here comes Ethan Burrell for the race lead. Nah, he's gonna think better of it there. It's tough for Ethan Burrell. Ryan Lutz has the lap-led bonus point as well right now. That would be irrelevant if Ethan could take the lead and lead a lap, but Ethan hasn't led a lap yet. So Ryan Lutz currently is the 3-point lead over Ethan. Ethan going to try the top lane, though. He needs to lead a lap.
He's still got plenty of time, but he doesn't want Lutz to check out here in a long green flag stretch. So he's going to press the issue here and try to pressure Lutz a little bit, see if he can make him to make a mistake. Lutz pulls back out by about a full car length now.
Seen Lutz make many a mistake in his racing days, but I don't think I've seen Ryan Lutz make a mistake while leading a race. That guy can lead all day long. It's when he gets in traffic and when he ends up, either making a mistake on pit road or something, that's when he gets in his own head, and that's when the mistakes happen. But as a race leader, man, Ryan Lutz is as good as they come. He can really hold off the competition. He can toy with the competition, in fact, a number of different places and ways. It's very difficult to pass Ryan Lutz for the lead.
Mogard in the 3rd spot, running by himself here a little bit as he blinks off the screen, actually. There he comes back on.
I was gonna say, if he doesn't come back, that'd be really bad for his playoff hopes. This is what the doctor ordered from Jared Mogard, a 3rd place run here, and definitely in position if these front two get into each other trying to take the lead.
Sitting in the catbird seat right now, watching these two go at it.
This battle for the lead is pretty intense. Ethan Burrell has tried a number of different things to size up Ryan Lutz. He's run high, he's backed off of him and gotten a better run. He's run in his tire tracks and picked up a draft. Ethan just needs that one lap lead, and Lutz wants to hold him off. If Lutz could hold him off the rest of the way, that would be the most laps led for Ryan Lutz. That would be another bonus point to the 36 car.
See what will happen here. Keep an eye on the battle. Here comes Lytle going down to the bottom side there. Pulled out of line. He was tucked in behind Weeks. Not close enough to make a move. Adams in there along with Sherman, Crump, and Bayou coming to join that train as well.
St. Lytle just threw a pretty big block on Josh Adams, kind of returning the favor with what Adams did to Crump earlier in the race. Now they're going to try side by side. Adams goes to the top, and the top lane works. Adams goes speeding around Lytle.
Yeah, it's that speed we saw earlier with Personette and Burrell there on the top line. Wonder if it comes in early in the run. Adams going to stick to that bottom now, try to block Lytle and go back after Weeks for the 4th spot.
The only time you can do that is with the fresher tires, the first 10 or 15 laps of a run. Here comes Johnny Thomas after Matthew Bayou. Good battle there for the 10th spot, or the 9th spot rather, as Thomas going to flash by Bayou. Damien trying to take advantage. Not being able to do it though. Bayou holds him off.
A couple guys working together, trying to get
Battle for the lead.
into a solid top spot is Thomas and Leininger, but now Burrell fades off just a little bit. You take another shot at him?
Yeah, Ethan jumped to the bottom down the back straightaway again. I thought he was going to pack it in there and maybe move Ryan Lutz out of the way. He thinks better of it once again and follows in Ryan Lutz's tire tracks. I don't think Ryan Lutz is holding up Ethan Burrell either. I think they're just running very similar speeds. Ethan kind of following in the draft of Ryan Lutz. Lutz able to kind of scoot away with the fresh air and the clean air around him. Battle now for 4th as this battle calms down just a smidge. Adams and Weeks go side by side into turn 3. Give that spot to Josh Adams.
One thing as I look back up here at the front, while these two have been going at it, slowly but surely, Mogard has been closing in on those two. He's almost in the battle as well.
Yeah, I just wonder how much speed that 00 car has. You know, he's quite good at keeping in the tire tracks of those around him. But if he and Ethan Burrell start to battle, I think Ryan Lutz would just drive away from him. That 36 car is just really strong, and I think Ethan keeps on kind of backing out of it a little, cooling his tires, and then making some runs at Ryan Lutz, trying to take the lead and get that bonus point for leading a lap. Lutz continues to lead, and the more laps Lutz leads, the more likely it is that he'll pick up that extra bonus point for leading the most laps. If that's the case, this would then be a 4-point gap between Lutz and Burrell, and then even more because Lutz is in front of Burrell.
Well, Burrell was just 1/100th of a second quicker that lap than Lutz, so they're running pretty close to identical lap times here between the two of them.
And I don't see any give up in this 37 car, you know, but I don't see any backup either. He is not being held up by Ryan Lutz. It's not the case where he's running close to Lutz because he's faster. He's the same speed as Lutz. He's in the draft. That's the case here. You know, it's oftentimes you'll see two guys running that close and you'll go, oh, that guy in the front's holding him up. I don't think that's the case here.
No, absolutely not. And it's kind of funny because now that you say that, David, I look at Mogard's lap time and he runs the same exact lap time as the two guys in front of him now that he's in the draft as well.
Yeah, these cars aren't heavy draft dependent like the current series NASCAR Cup cars, but they are going to pick up the push in the dirty air. They'll also suck up to each other in the dirty air. So Darren Mogard able to drive up and suck up to the back bumper of Ethan Burrell. And the smart thing for Mogard to do is ride behind this 37 car, maybe even try to give him a little bit of a draft. If you got to weasel this 36 car out of the way if you guys want to take the lead and settle it amongst yourselves. If they start to battle, Ryan Lutz is going to drive away. Right there, you see it on the left side. Lap times nearly identical through the top, 7 or so before you start falling out of 32.0. Remarkable how close this field is in terms of lap time and speed.
Things kind of
Michael Goodman here.
Things kind of settling down again. Single file through the top 10.
Goody came up. Lutz came off the corner a lot higher than I think he wanted to there, and Goody running the top lane. About bounced off of Ryan Lutz. They're in the same chat, so I know they were communicating, but I don't think a mistake on Goodman's part. Just Lutz came off the corner really high compared to where he had been running.
Yeah, the rest of the top 10 going around Michael Goodman now as well.
And the battle for 11th is maybe the best battle on track right now. Damian Leininger and James Heater battling it out. They're about to flash around Goodman here, but all that behind the top 10 where Matthew Bayou currently sits, and right in front of Nick Massey. And then you know, behind these guys, you've got Kyle Hanshaw, and then you've got our stage points grabbers of Gerald Campbell and Nick Indelicato. They are 15th and 16th, but those 10 points, man, the 10, and I think Gerald got 6. Those are big boons in terms of getting a good points result, even if you don't have the speed to finish up in the top 5 for a race. Though we have seen Gerald up in the top 5, I think he just needs track position. Delicato using that strategy to sneak up and steal the stage win. I think that's pretty masterful work by this 01 car, and every point he gets makes him a stronger threat to enter this playoff hunt. He is currently sitting, I believe he's right on the edge. Yeah, he's 11th in points right now, and his main competition is Jared Mogard, Josh Adams, and Gerald Campbell in front of him. So right now, the only guy in the top 10 in points having a mediocre to bad day is Chris Wright.
Closing in on 50 to go here in this one. I don't want to mention it because I know I'm going to jinx it.
Battle for second up front. Jared Mogard is going to go around Ethan Burrell.
Burrell maybe will tuck in and ride behind Mogard here. And look at that. Just that one little pass has allowed Lutz to pull out by quite a ways.
Huge lead now for Ryan Lutz, 7/10 of a second. And that's the biggest lead we've seen anyone have all day long. Lutz now able to be comfortable, I think. We'll have to see if Jared Mogart can run Lutz down.
Adams trying to close in on the back of Burrell. He's got Lytle, Weeks, and Sherman in tow with him.
Sherman is kind of tagged onto this front pack. Done a pretty swell job running in 7th spot so far today. Then you've got Scott Crump, Johnny Thomas, Matthew Bayou grounding up the top 10. Bayou has had another strong day. Battle for 4th.
Lytle going to go underneath Adams. Looks like he's got the move. He'll tuck into the 4th spot. Ethan Burrell has fallen off a little bit. You think he's used up his tires there, David? He's fallen off of Mogard.
Yeah, difficult for Ethan Burrell. You know, he was trying his best to get a lap led there, I think. I think maybe he realized he didn't have the speed to take it to Ryan Lutz on the long run, hoping that this run would be a little bit shorter, but it has gone long, and Ryan Lutz has driven away from everybody right now. Jared Mogard not eating into the Ryan Lutz lead whatsoever. Matthew Weeks into 5th here.
Burrell in line to maybe lose quite a few spots here. Lytle has closed up quick on the back of the 37 car. He'll dive underneath down the backstretch. Look to take that 3rd spot away. He will do so.
This could be disastrous for Ethan Burrell if this race goes green like this. He's back to 4th. He's working with his teammates right here. But if Josh Adams or Thomas Sherman is able to get up and around him, I mean, that's a fairly sizable gap he's giving up to Ryan Lutz in terms of points.
Battle for the 10th spot, I think it is. Or maybe 11th spot. Nick Massey just got around James Heater.
Bad news for everyone in the top 10. This run has gone on long enough that Nick Massey's car has finally come to life. Matthew Weeks, though, has gone around Ethan Burrell. No teamwork there in the Pro Edge camp. Josh Adams now trying to stream around the 37 car.
Inside 50 to go. It's everyone for themselves here. Adams struggling a little bit to get underneath Burrell and get around him. That's going to allow, well, they continue to battle. Crump kind of closing that gap from 7th to 8th.
Sherman now going to try to sneak up and around Ethan Burrell. He's going to take him pretty wide.
Yeah.
Oh, Sherman thought better of that, I think. Oh, no, Ethan Burrell's the one who backed out of it. The second in points man, really trying to preserve his good run. And Thomas Sherman,
something's wrong with Crump.
No, he's coming down
pit road. Coming to pit road.
It's a calculated move by Scott Crump. First one to pit, that's going to give him that early advantage. on those fresh tires. The question now is, will Scott Crump get trapped by a caution? And what will the rest of the top 10 do? Because Crump's going to have a big lead.
That puts Nick Massey in the top 10 now, and he's going after Bayuk for the 9th position at the moment. To go run at him.
Comes in here. Trying to look back through. No one else in the top 10 looking to come down pit road. And everyone else leaves it alone. So Scott Crump doesn't make a move that draws anyone else off their strategy. Everyone's staying out longer. They will have to pit one more time before this race ends.
Tell you, one car right now that's very happy with how this is going. You already mentioned it, David, but here he comes. He's up to the 9th position. Nick Massey going to try to track down Johnny Thomas. Once he gets to Thomas, he's in this line of cars where he's with everybody, and he can pick off quite a few pretty quickly.
His tires are shot. He's fallen all the way back into 7th spot, and that's within striking distance of Johnny Thomas in 8th. Nick Massey in 9th. Burrell just in the danger zone right now. He must come to pit road soon. Try to get those tires on it, but he doesn't want to get trapped a lap down. He needs to make the right call here. Caution's out. That's going to trap Scott Crump a lap down. Just like that. Although Crump's actually going to get the lucky dog now that I look at it. That still won't allow Crump to keep his track position. Unfortunate news for the 51 car. Good news for this whole group in the top 10, and especially Ethan Burrell. He was in desperate need of a caution. Figure out who it was here. Looks like it might have been Gerald Campbell and Dallas Myhan. Dallas gets into Gerald. Gerald bounces it off the wall, and that's what causes it there, a spin. That's why you stay out and try to grab those points if you're Gerald Campbell. You know, a bad run ends up not becoming too much worse. See what the pit call is. Meant to send Emily down to get Scott Crump's reaction for getting trapped a lap down there and pinned at the back of the field. They're going to come down pit road. I know everyone's going to come and get 4 tires. These guys can't slide through their box. This may be the last stop of the day.
Well, and we've seen it this year where guys have made mistakes on pit road that have cost them wins.
Yep, Ryan Lutz needs a perfectly smooth stop here. Try to get through it, trying to keep my eye on everyone going down pit road, at least the top 5.
Lutz is in safe, so he's good.
Yep, I think everyone in the top 10 or so had a good pit stop. At least a good pit stop entrance. We'll have to be careful of speeding on exit. That's what got Gerald Campbell in the back in the first place. Ryan Lutz is out first. He will win the race off pit road. Then Mogard, Lytle, Weeks, Adams. Oof. Ethan Burrell is way back in the field now after all that. Speeding on pit road doesn't look like it. Looks like those guys were pretty manageable. So a good set of pit stops for everybody, and it keeps the running order pretty much the same as it came in. Ryan Lutz, Jared Mogard, Tate Lytle, Matthew Weeks, and Josh Adams, the top 5. Will Ethan Burrell burn the tires off it again, trying to climb back through the field? There's only 43 laps to go now. These guys may be pushing him a little bit harder because the amount of racing left is a lot less than it was the last time we had a restart.
Well, this is where we'll get to see how fast that 00 car of Jared Mogard is. He's got fresh tires. He's got track position. Now let's see if he can challenge Ryan Lutz for the race lead.
Now that's going to be a big key to the end of this race is, does anybody have anything for Ryan Lutz in the long run? I don't feel like they do. It's going to come down, I think, to if we get a short run and these guys can get up to Ryan Lutz and get alongside of him, make him make a mistake. Once Ryan Lutz gets out into the clean air, he's so difficult to pass and so difficult to beat. Seen it happen before though this season. Something happened that knocked Ryan Lutz out of a win. Happened a couple of times, I think at Iowa for one, and then at North Wilkesboro for another. couple of races that Ryan Lutz was out front and multiple things happened around him that were not of his own making, and it cost him the win. Emily's back. Emily, what you got for us?
Hey guys, so I just jumped down and talked to the guys at Shift, to Nick and to Matt, and just kind of got their thoughts on how the race was going here. You know, Matt said right now it's go time. He thinks that it's going to get pretty aggressive. He said everyone might have one more tire change in them, but he expects this to kind of ramp up here. And Nick kind of had the same exact thoughts. He said it's probably going to get hectic. There's not a lot of give and take left. So they're just kind of waiting to see how the rest of this one plays out.
That's Nick and Delicato and Matthew Bayuk. They're running 10th and 12th respectively, and I think those two guys are going to be on the hunt, as it were, for, you know, this race top 10, and these are two guys right on the edge of the playoff picture. If this thing does end up getting chaotic, these are two guys who do not need a bad result today.
One guy that continues to kind of march his way forward and continues to have a good day, Johnny, up to the 7th spot.
Yep, the yellow Chevy number 83 looks real strong, real spicy today. I think it's actually manscaped, but it's in the format of the yellow Chevy, and boy, it looks good today. Love that car, love that paint job. He, Matthew Weeks, and Chris Wright have been the three of my throwback schemes that have been my favorites. I'm glad they pulled him back out again today. Go green here. We'll see if anybody has anything for Ryan Lutz. It hasn't been the case over the last 50 or so laps. Lutz has been fairly dominant since the second half of this race started.
Lights out on the pace car, gonna pull down pit road. 40 to go.
Yep, and Mogard trying to key up on Lutz. He's not going to be able to do it nearly as well as Lutz. In fact, Tate Lytle is going to jump up into second on this restart.
That 36 car just gets such a good launch off the start.
Jammed it down into turn one. Oh my goodness, he about caused a big wreck.
Here comes Burrell again on that outside line. Getting a good run up to the 4th spot. Almost run it at 3 wide. Decided to back out of it once again.
Wise move by second in points, man. Ethan Burrell doesn't kill the race lead there. It seems like Matthew Weeks is not able to get the same run Ethan Burrell is up top. Weeks' 11 car seems to be a little bit just bogged down up in the top lane.
Sherman and Weeks doing battle for 5th and 6th. Bayou teams out of Burrell for 7th and 8th. Thomas and Massey 9th and 10th.
Nick and Delicato sneaking his way towards the top 10 as well. You know, Emily just mentioned that he's all take now, no give. Weeks does clear Sherman. Now Burrell will try to clear Sherman.
I think Bayou just bounced it off the wall a little bit back there.
Lytle now in charge of hunting down Ryan Lutz. The question is, will Ryan Lutz and Tate Lytle get together at all? You know, I think they've had some run-ins in the past, but Tate and Lutz, Tate seems to be the only car that's been able to get up through there that can challenge Lutz on this restart. And he got to do it without burning his tires off. There's still a long way to go. 38 laps to go here.
It's kind of cool. We have a few different groups of cars in their own different battles. You got Lutz and Lytle in the 2-car battle, Adams and Mogard in the 2-car battle. Then you got Burrell, Weeks, and Sherman 3-car group. Bayuk and Delicato. Massey was in there with Thomas, but now he is falling way back.
Massey's saving his tires. He thinks this race is going to go all the way green all the way to the end. That's what he's been doing. Trying to keep the goodness in those tires so that 48 car can come through like he did at the end of the last run. I'm not sure that that's going to be the play. The way these guys are racing, I think a caution might be imminent. You need to gather as much as you can. Tate Lytle sideways exiting turn 2. That's going to cost him some time to Ryan Lutz.
The other thing about Massey is, I understand saving your tires, but can't fall too far back, because then that's a lot of ground you got to make up to try to win this thing, or even
get a top 5 here, so he's got to kind of be careful a little bit. Mogard all over the back of Adams.
Adams threw a bit of a block there. He's done that before in this race to Scott Crump. Crump update, he is still 25th here, well behind the field. I think maybe actually saving tire, hoping for a restart where people come in and pit so that Crump can come stay out and take those and kind of take advantage of everyone else, assuming he's on old tires, but really not really trying to run those tires super hard.
Well, Lutt's got a pretty decent lead, but Tate Lytle has closed that right back up. He's right on the back window there of Ryan Lutz.
Lutz is prone to this, though. You know, he backs up to his competition a little bit to try to give them a chance, and then he scoots back away from them. So will Tate Lytle be able to take advantage of Ryan Lutz backing up to him here? I'm not so sure. Lutz just does everything so well from the race lead. It just takes him a long time to get up there when he qualifies back in 7th, 8th spot. And he's patient. He's smart about it. That's why he's the points leader.
You know, it's almost like a taunting tactic or something there, David. Like, it's like he saves, like, in order to save tires, lets them kind of see that they're gaining ground, maybe gets them a little aggressive, gets them to use up their tires, and then just checks out.
That's exactly what he does. He gives them that hope that they can get up to him, lets them burn their stuff off, and then rolls away. Ethan Burrell has moved back to 5th, but that's still a far cry from where he was, which was right on the back bumper of the race leader, Ryan Lutz, which is where Tate Lytle is right now. And the question is, how much is that 56 car using up his tires?
Looks like Lytle is pushing pretty hard here, trying to get around Lutz.
I think he absolutely is. He's doing everything, trying to shake up his entrance to the corners to get a little bit better exit, trying to draft up into Ryan Lutz and get up underneath him. He's doing everything in his power, and we saw Ethan Burrell do that earlier, and it just wasn't enough. There just wasn't anything Burrell could do to get around Ryan Lutz. Tate Lytle kind of in the same boat here, just not a whole lot he could do to get around Ryan Lutz. We saw Nick and Delicato do this at the All-Star race in Texas. Ran down Lutz, didn't have anything for him, pounded it off the wall trying to get there.
Yeah, David, you said it. It's almost identical to what Burrell did, and we saw what happened with Ethan Burrell after probably 10 laps or maybe even 15 laps of trying to get around Ryan Lutz. He fell way through the back, towards the back half of the top 10.
That wouldn't be the worst result for Tate Lytle. He's 3rd in points, 2 wins, pretty well locked into the playoffs, but another win and keeping a win from Ryan Lutz, certainly, definitely the kind of thing Tate Lytle needs to do to have an advantage in this playoffs. He won't be able to get up and into the points lead here, but at the very least, Lytle can take away a few extra bonus points from Ryan Lutz.
Absolutely. Closes in once again. Now they've pulled Josh Adams and Jared Mogard into the mix.
Weeks and Burrell not far behind. This is about a 6 or 7 car battle for the race lead. The gap is between Sherman and Bayou back there.
Lytle closes in once again on Lutz, not able to get close enough to make a move though.
It's imperative for Adams and Mogard that they don't start battling side by side with Tate Lytle. You have to keep Ryan Lutz in check. Remember what happened when they started battling with Ethan Burrell. Lutz chucked out a 7/10 of a second, and then no one could ever get back to him because they're all running the same lap times here. So you have to keep him within striking distance. You have to let Tate be the one to make the move. And then if Tate can get around him, then everyone's free-for-alls and scrambles.
You almost have to worry about that being the 37 car of Ethan Burrell. He knows he needs to get up there. Just worry about him trying to battle with these guys and slowing them all up and letting Lutz get away.
Yeah, I think we're okay for now, but Tate Lytle could be burning the good off those tires. If that 56 starts to fade, Adams will take advantage, and as soon as he does that, I think this race will be all for Ryan Lutz.
Burrell now basically in that mix to make it a 5-car race for first.
This is really remarkable, just that no one can ever get to the back bumper of Ryan Lutz. They can follow in his tire tracks, they can get to 1/10, 2/10. They can't get underneath him, they're stuck in right behind him. It's really bottling up this field now. Lytle seems to be losing the grip on those tires, and Adams
Here
is going to
comes
take
Adams.
advantage. Here it goes. How far ahead will Lutz get as Adams is going to go around Tate Lytle. Lytle tries to hold him off, and just that little act right there, that's going to open up the lead. 5/10 quickly opened up. I think it might even be 6 now.
Yeah, but we've seen Lutz been able to pull away, and like you said, David, whether on purpose or the car behind gets a little bit of a run, they can close back in. So Lutz didn't check out too far, but we'll just see how, as this continues to go on, as we're going to hit 25 to go this time by, if they can close back in at all.
And this would certainly change the way this race plays out, I think. If a caution were to come out, that would certainly shake things up, because then you just do what the leader doesn't here. If he pits, you stay out. If he stays out, you pit, and then that's the change in story. But it's all about, at this point, battle for second, because Ryan Lutz is now scooting away from these guys. Mogard down to the inside, taking him 3 wide. Bold move by Jared Mogard, who is certainly not in position to put himself at risk.
Now that could really let Lutz check out, putting all 3 of them side by side like that.
I don't know about that move there, as Adams wisely backs out of it. Josh Adams, very, very clean and respectful racer, drops out, and he's side by side with Ethan Burrell now. Chooses to give up a couple of spots rather than wall it coming off of turn 4 and crash the second and third place cars along with himself.
Lutz able to double his lead out to almost a full second now. It's going to be a heck of a battle here for the race for second place here if this continues. You got Lytle, Mogard, Adams, Burrell, Weeks, and now Sherman coming in the mix as well.
Adams burned off his rubber as well, trying to get around Tate Lytle. Lytle able to get back to second here, but unable to stay with Ryan Lutz. Lutz just from the lead. He's so good at conserving his tires and conserving his lead no matter how close the other cars get. Ryan Lutz is able to hold off into the lead. Jared Mogard crosses over Tate Lytle. He'll go back into second as the 0-0 car.
And who this might really work out for? How about Johnny Thomas and Nick Indelicato? They're closing in on this pack. They haven't really pushed too much. They might be saving their tires, and it might pay off here at the end of this run.
Yeah, they seem to be in really good shape to maybe pick up a couple of spots on some of these guys that might be struggling a little bit. Adams in particular seems to be the one struggling the most, but we'll see. I don't know how much speed those guys are going to have. And then Nick Massey trying to work his way back into the top 10. He's right on the back bumper of Matthew Bayou for that 10th spot. We saw Massey dropping back earlier in this run. He is not going to be a threat for this win at the end in the slightest, I don't think.
$20 to go this time by.
No one's going to catch Ryan Lutz. A second and a 10th in front of Jared Mogard. Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks, Pro Edge 3 through 5. And then Josh Adams in 6th, Thomas Sherman 7th. Johnny Thomas has caught this pack for 8th.
Delicato just 2 to 3 cars off of this pack as well, so he'll be joining here in another lap or so.
Jared Mogard has eaten a 10th out of the Ryan Lutz lead. Don't know if that's just he's broken free with the freshest tires or what, but he has chopped into it a little bit. It's down to a 10th, a second and 700ths or so. Quickly, kind of opening back up.
Burrell went to the high side there.
And lost the spot to Matthew Weeks. Herman tries to get under Adams here.
Things getting a little bit, picking up just a little bit here as we close in on the closing 18 laps. That lead opening back up for Lutz again, up to 1.2 seconds.
Yep, Lutz just clearing away from Jared Mogard. That guy, so good on the older tires, so good on saving his rubber, just so good from the lead. And I think that's his biggest strength, is racing from the lead. So the goal of the field around him must be to hold Ryan Lutz away from the lead. If Lutz is in the lead, man, you're screwed.
Here comes Sherman for 6th.
He'll take it away from Josh Adams.
I thought Johnny was going to try to push Adams back past Sherman. Bit of a curious move as Adams doesn't try to jump underneath. Thomas doesn't try to jump underneath Adams. Then again, those are two of the more respectful racers in any league you're going to run into. These guys really good about taking care of each other, taking care of the other cars on track. Matthew Weeks for third around Tate Lytle. 11th car, the pole sitter, has maybe bided his time a little bit too long, and this one hasn't quite had the race winning pace, but certainly looking for a podium here today.
I think Lytle's tires are now gone too.
Yeah,
Burrell's closing in on him.
Lytle's hurting. Adams is hurting. Those guys falling back through the field a little bit. They did everything in their power to run down Ryan Lutz, but even that wasn't enough. At this point in the race, it's all about conserving the position that you're already in here, and Ryan Lutz scooting away from Jared Mogard. The battle will be for second, I think, as Thomas goes underneath Josh Adams.
Yeah, Johnny going for it. Here comes Nick and Delicato as well. Going to try to make it a 2-for-1 here. Although Thomas kind of lost his momentum underneath Adams, and now he's really going to have to fight to get around him.
The 83 car pushed up the racetrack there in the center of turns 3 and 4. We'll see if Adams can make Johnny can make it stick through 1 and 2. Difficult battle there. Almost got a little loose on exit that time, and here comes Delicato 3 wide. Watch one of these guys up top. Probably going to let off here, and they're going to battle it out. Yeah, Johnny lets out of it there. I'm telling you, man, those guys know how to take care of each other, and it ends up hurting you in terms of a race where the aggressive get the reward. Nick and Delicato is going to pick up 2 spots with 1 move because he took advantage of the right guys instead of someone who was going to drive into turn 3 and wreck him.
And you can see how much Lytle's kind of slowing everyone up behind him because Mogard and Weeks have just kind of checked out from that 3-driver back. We're all going to look to the inside, not close enough to make a move.
Yep, Thomas Sherman sitting in 6th. This would be a welcome run for Thomas Sherman. He just wants to get a good top 10 result, get on TV a bunch, which he has been all day long. We've been covering this 17 car, the number change from 23, attempting to kind of switch up that luck, and it seems to have paid off. He's had good runs. He hasn't had the results. Trying to get one of those results today, right on the cusp of the top 5 run. Here's the battle now. Ethan Burrell jumps on the inside of Tate. He'll go for it. See if Burrell's car pushes up like Johnny Thomas's did underneath another car. It does not. Burrell seems to have a little more speed than Johnny underneath, and he'll go. Oh, here comes Sherman on Tate now.
Yep, going to take a position as well. Thomas Sherman in the top 5.
Nick and Delicato sits in, trying to grab 6th from Tate Lytle. Those guys have not eaten at all into Ryan Lutz's lead, by the way. It's still 1.2 seconds.
He's checked out and ready to end this one.
This would only be Ryan Lutz's 2nd win of the season, mind you. He and Ethan Burrell have each split 1 win apiece. For such a dominating season, you would have expected them to win multiple races each, but no, only 1 per. Ryan Lutz's first win this season came at Homestead Speedway. Though he looked to have Iowa locked up completely. Got snookered on a late pit stop that he didn't make and everyone behind him did. And then some other races have just not gone Ryan Lutz's way. He was the All-Star race winner at Texas, which is a similar track to this one. And Thomas Sherman around Ethan Burrell for 4th.
And Delicato going to go with him.
So Burrell's tires seem to be used up as well. And Sherman going to try to take advantage of that. Tough battle here for 4th. Those guys, a bunch of guys who need a good run. And Delicato, one of those who's right on the cusp of the playoffs, really needs a quality result every time out until the playoffs start in order to ensure his ticket into the playoffs is punched. Ethan Burrell really trying not to lose any more ground to Ryan Lutz for next week's race.
Josh Adams and Tate Lytle doing battle back there for the 7th and 8th position.
That seems to have righted the ship a little bit, not falling anymore. Yeah, moving Delicato to 5th, Burrell to 6th. It's amazing that this is going to be kind of a disappointing run for Ethan Burrell. All things considered, he has been a little bit faster than 6th place today and hasn't been able to get the tire conservation right. Battle for eight.
Think there'll be enough time for Sherman to make a run at Weeks here?
I don't know. There's only 7 laps to go, 8 laps to go. So Weeks is also looking pretty strong in terms of lap times. He looks like just equal to Sherman. So we might be talking to Ryan Lutz, Jared Mogart, and Matthew Weeks, barring a caution in the last 7 laps.
See what happens here. Looks like Johnny did not get around Tate, so he'll tuck back into the 9th position.
Johnny having the same issue I had earlier tonight at Bristol. Just no way to pass on the bottom of the racetrack there. It's just difficult for those guys to keep the momentum on the outside and just drive it around you. Ethan Burrell sandwiched 4 top 2 runs with a win at Michigan earlier this year in a very strong performance. He's been very close to a number of wins, almost won earlier this year at Atlanta as well. So those Ethan Burrell and Ryan Lutz, though they have dominated this year, have not put together all of the wins. Matthew Bayek does take 9th place from Johnny Thomas.
Well, the lead has nearly doubled. Ryan Lutz up by 1.9 seconds, closing in on 2 full seconds, as we're going to have 5 to go this time across the stripe.
If you had to hear it from me, it's that Ryan Lutz finally turned it on. He's finally trying now. That guy is so good at leading these races, man. And you just can't let him get out there. He'll just dominate just like this at any track, any race, anytime.
Working through some lap traffic. Jared Campbell going to go a lap down.
Yep. And you asked about Sherman eating into Weeks. He certainly is. We'll have to see if he and Indelicato can make it all the way up to Weeks. Looks like Indelicato might actually challenge Sherman for that 4th position. 4 to go.
Yeah, it's going to be close. They might have a shot, but they're going to have to continue to march towards the front here.
Here comes Indelicato. If they start battling, that's going to kiss
It's over. Yeah.
Podium to goodbye. They've got to keep drafting up.
They got to work together to get up here and then battle.
Another battle back in the field. Matthew Bayek trying to get after Tate Lytle, but for now, this battle on track, the closest one to anything relative to changing position. Sherman does not have the bottom. It's going to be Indelicato entering turn 1. That will make it difficult for them to catch Matthew Weeks, though.
Do have a couple lap cars they have to navigate around here, so we'll see.
Remarkable job by Indelicato. Stayed out to grab the stage points there. Lap 75, and he's going to drive his way up into 4th spot after not really being at the front of the field all day long, and started in 29th spot. Just a really, really good drive for Nick Indelicato. Even if he doesn't make it onto the podium, this will be a rock-solid run and a great effort to try to make it into this playoff.
He's closing in, though. Might be about 2 to 3 laps short, though.
Going to be close for Nick Indelicato. That's going to be the battle, I think, is for 3rd spot. Whether
he's
or not
there.
he can get around.
He is there.
He's right there. It's going to be a battle through this white flag lap. Ryan Lutz has hit it one more time around at Charlotte. Going to be an easy win for Ryan Lutz, as long as he doesn't wall it in the next 2 corners. Battle is for 3rd between Indelicato and Weeks.
I think Sherman was probably holding him up here. He's made a run since getting around him.
Sideways was Indelicato there, driving it really hard with these older tires.
That might have lost it for him. He's going to have to dive it on in here. Oh, really close.
I think Nick Indelicato could have spun Weeks if he wanted to, but it's not going to be enough. Ryan Lutz wins at Charlotte. Jared Mogart 2nd, Weeks 3rd, and Indelicato 4th, Sherman 5th. Johnny Thomas into the top 10, Bayek into the top 10. Great runs for some of those guys who really needed them. Tate Lytle fell to the 13th after all that. His tires really were completely shot after driving that close to Ryan Lutz. We'll have to have Emily ask if Ryan Lutz was toying with the field there. under green flag, trying to make them burn off their tires, because everybody who went right behind Ryan Lutz at the start of the green flag burned their stuff off and lost 10 positions every time. Remarkable, really. Lutz's teammate Damian Leininger giving him a shot. Leininger with a strong 12th place run. Maybe the luck finally turning around for that 12 car. Team burnouts there, Apex Sim Racing. Getting their money's worth tonight. I don't see Jared Mogart on the radar. He usually pops up into the waiting room once he's ready. So we'll go down and grab, I believe, Matthew Weeks finished third, so we'll throw him into the waiting room and we'll get him on an interview with Emily. While Lutz is burning it down, we'll send it down to Emily with Matthew Weeks.
Hey, Matthew, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, I just want to start by getting your thoughts on how the race went for you tonight.
It went good. It went really good. I wish we had longer runs so I could have took advantage of that. But other than that, it was great.
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, there were a lot of cautions and lead changes on this one. Was there kind of a turning point in the race for you here tonight?
I think about after the second caution, knowing I had to get towards the front instead of trying to save tires, knowing we ain't getting super long runs. So I think once I started moving to the front, it helped.
We talked to a couple of guys that mentioned the second half of the race that they thought it was going to get pretty aggressive. The intensity was going to pick up. Did you kind of feel that towards the end there?
Oh yeah, everyone started picking it up. About 40 to go, it really got intense after that last caution.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, are there any shout outs that you would like to give?
Yeah, to the Pro Edge guys and, SMRI for the sponsor and you guys up in the booth. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks so much for your time, Matthew, and congrats on coming in third tonight.
All right, thank y'all. You have a good night.
You too.
That was Matthew Weeks, the Pro Edge driver and the pole sitter for today's race. And we'll have to get their thoughts, especially probably Jared Mogart's thoughts on how his playoff hopes are going to be since he had a good run today. So let's send in Jared Mogart now down to the booth.
Hey, Jared, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you. Yes.
All right, well, I'm just going to ask you, David just mentioned what your playoff hopes were now that you had a good run here tonight on this one.
Yeah, we needed a good run there. We were on the bubble for points. So, we wanted to get the stage points there. I thought about staying out and trying to win the stage, but didn't really know how many laps we were going to have or if we were going to go back green. So, we got some stage points, and then, yeah, like I said, we needed a good run. We've been struggling with the series, just trying to have the luck for the finishes. So, to run top 5 the whole night and second place finish is really, really good.
Yeah, we had a lot of talks tonight about tire conservation. How were you able to kind of manage that so well?
Honestly, it's my weakest point, so I've been working really hard at it the last few weeks, and I feel like I've hit on something to kind of save it longer. Maybe not necessarily as good as these guys, but changing with them longer, and I felt like we did a really good job of that tonight. And like I was telling Lutz there, yeah, I think I could have hung with him, but it took me too long to get to second. And by the time I got to second, I burnt my stuff up, and he slowly started to pull away there the last 10 laps.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of curious how you kind of felt about this race tonight. Was it like pretty intense for you? Was it kind of more mellow? What was kind of the feeling for you as you were out there tonight?
A little bit of both. We didn't really get a long run. We were at that 25-30 lap run there until the end. So, it was kind of right when you got in the rhythm, the yellow come out and to redo it all again. And a couple of them restarts were really hectic there with, some guys sticking out there, a couple of them stops, and just trying to get through them without tearing the car up and being smart. And then, like I said, just to trying to save the tires the best you could, but it seemed like every time we started to do that, the yellow would come out there until the end, anyway.
Mhm. Well, before we let you go here, are there any shout outs you would like to give tonight?
Yeah, I gotta thank Dennis Zek at Dennis Zek Racing, Ben at Dirt Race Central, iBuy Power Computers, Splash and Go Graphics, Twitch Race Reports, Johnny and everybody that puts on this league, and you guys for doing the broadcast, and congrats to Letsy again on the win. You schooled us again, so hopefully we can keep it rolling here in a couple weeks at the dirt track. We're looking forward to that, so hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Awesome. Well, Jared, thanks so much for your time and congrats on coming in second tonight.
Yes, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thanks.
That was Jared Mogard, the second place finisher, and now we'll send in the race winner, Ryan Lutz, who absolutely stomped him tonight.
Hey, Ryan, do you have a copy?
Ma'am.
All right. Well, when I talked to you and your team about halfway through the race, you guys kind of gave me a hard time for not choosing any of you to win. And I said, well, prove me wrong. And you did that. So what was the reason for your success here tonight?
Really, we just had a good balanced car. The setup was perfect. It was a bit free, so it was a little loose on exit, so it was right up my alley. It turned on the bottom, and it was a paint in the white race. And for me, that's all me. I love that stuff. So really, every time we got out front, I've been really working on my long run game on this game lately, and I've been doing a lot of long races to help myself get better. And every time we'd get to the lead, we'd really just play with that guy in second. And every time I kind of felt bad who was second because he would burn up so bad. And it was a good race for sure. I was happy to have that long run at the end and just seal the deal.
Yeah, well, the guys, were mentioning quite a bit that once you get the lead, it's near impossible for anyone to pass you. So why do you think that you're so solid when you get in that top spot?
Because I don't just drive the wheels off it. A lot of the times you get to the lead and you're like, oh my God, I'm at the lead, and you just drive and your guts out. But for me, it's just another race being in the lead. In my opinion, you got to survive, and you got to have a car at the end to race and be able to stay out front. And every time I love pressure, so I love when someone's behind me rather than being the chaser. I like being chased. So every time we'd back off and kind of think that guy has a shot at me, and then I would do 2 laps of goodness, and we'd pull, I don't know, whatever it was, a half second to a second, and then I would back it up again, and really just saving the tires. The car is really good today, so just the perfect race for us.
Was there a strategy that you had for saving the tires, or did you just kind of get lucky with when you needed to go in and all the cautions that came out?
Yeah, I know. There's always a long run at Charlotte. It's usually a bottom lane racetrack, so there's always long runs. And I knew in the beginning we just stay patient. I didn't qualify as well as I thought I would, and I knew we stayed patient. We had a good long run car because I've always been good here, no matter what car it is, and really just to lifting early. I don't know if you guys heard my in car, but I was almost lifting at the start finish line a couple of times, and just really trying not to abuse the right front, just trying to save the right side tires and make sure it has enough turn and drive off at the end to capture a win.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs that you would like to give here?
Yeah. Backflip Podcast with Damien Leiniger. He's a big supporter of mine. You, Emily, Dom, David, everyone that puts this deal on. Chris with Belly Up Sports. It's an awesome league to be in. My girlfriend, she's always watching, and I know she's all pumped up, and just everyone that's a supporter of mine. Natural Designs, just everyone. This is a pretty big one for me, and we'll extend the point lead, and we'll go into some dirt racing here.
Awesome. Well, we are very stoked for you. Thanks so much for the time tonight, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
That was Ryan Lutz, race winner, and I think we'll kind of close it out with this. The points have been updated. Ryan Lutz has a 14-point lead over Ethan Burrell. And then at the bubble, Josh Adams has a 2-point lead over Nick Indelicato, who has a 4-point lead over Gerald Campbell, who is currently out. So a massive tumble for poor Gerald. But it's really those three. Matthew Bayuk fairly far off. another 30 points from Gerald back to Matthew. So the battle is right there at the transfer spot. Jared Mogard is 4 to the good. Josh Adams 2 to the good. And Delicato is up 4 over Gerald Campbell, who's back 4. So that is going to be kind of our focus, I think, next week at the dirt race. Will be that 10th place bubble battle along with the points lead, obviously, but Ethan Burrell is going to have to do an awful lot to catch back up to Ryan Lutz, who has really started to put the pressure on Ethan for that regular season championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to go dirt racing here, but actually it'll be 2 weeks as we will have next Monday off due to the holiday weekend.
Yes, absolutely. And Emily, what are your final thoughts kind of coming from this race?
Yeah, I was not expecting all of the cautions that we had tonight. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a little bit smoother, but it was a definitely, exciting race. I thought it was very entertaining. It's fun to see, so many lead changes that we had, and being able to see Ryan kind of command that top spot was a lot of fun. So I had a good one here tonight. As always, I'm going to miss everybody next week, but excited to get back at it in a couple more weeks.
Any final thoughts from you as well?
Just someone's got to stop Ryan Lutz. Can't let him get out there to the race lead, because once he does, he checks out and this thing's over with. So, and everyone's racing for second place. So, be interesting. Excited to put these cars on dirt and see if we get someone else that can come up and pick up a win in 2 weeks.
I tell you guys, before the season started, I would not have pegged Ryan Lutz to be a 2-time race winner with 12 races, with both of those races at 1.5-mile tracks. He has really changed his game and stepped it up from what he used to be. He used to be kind of the short track king, as it were, and he didn't win any of our short track swing races, but he did win 2-mile-and-a-half tracks in Homestead and Charlotte. So he's been the 1.5-mile king so far this year, and we'll have to see if he can be the dirt king next week, or 2 weeks rather, back here on Belly Up Sports. So for Emily Harlan, Dom Santina, I am David Westergreen. You are watching the ERSCA Days Gone By 150. Congrats to Ryan Lutz, the race winner, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Lernerville.